A few weeks back, I was contacted by Jackrabbit Media. They wanted to know if I wanted to review some officially licensed earphones. I said, well, I'm not an audiophile or anything. Hey, anime? Free stuff? Sure, why not? They sent me a list and I looked through it. I said, holy crap, yes, an Asuka-themed earphones. Please give it to me. A couple weeks passed, I got a package in the mail, opened it up, and what did I find? This. Does this look like Asuka-themed to you? It's Rei. It's not Asuka. But anyhow, I opened it up and I'm not gonna be mad. I mean, it's free and they didn't have the one I wanted. Big whoop. And yes, technically, I did originally like Rei the most. It's just later on, I fell in love with Asuka. But inside I found this, an officially licensed Evangelion branded final earphones. A charging case that is themed around Unit 0, and inside the earphones themselves. Now, you might be asking yourself one very important question that I did as well. Who the hell is Final? Well, after some digging, found out they established themselves way back in 2007. They were a subsidiary of Molex. Yes, that Molex. But of course, Molex isn't just a connector, they've done a lot of electronics across multiple different industries itself. But apparently in 2014, Final went independent. And according to them, ever since then they've kind of had a very unique perspective on sound and design. And this has kind of gained them attention in Japan and Europe, which is probably why I don't even know who they are. Their products have been selling in high-end audio shops, high-quality department stores, and lifestyle shops like Paris's Colette. It seems like their focus is really kind of to push against the idea of products only being important when they're brand new, which is honestly makes sense with something that is themed to something that you enjoy, or, you know, a bunch of rocks on it. Apparently, they have jewelry-based ones. Their focus is sort of like making this your wristwatch, something that you keep around for a long time. That's apparently pulled off by its design and making it repairable. Now, to be perfectly honest, how this is repairable, I have no idea right now. Now, after my investigation of Final is over, let's move on to the product itself. Starting off with the charger, I really like the design. It's just got like a nice riveting to it. It really does capture that aesthetic. Apparently gives you a whopping 54 extra hours of charge. In total, you're looking at several days of music play alone. The design inside is fine. The only issue that I've really had with it so far is because the earbuds seem so similar, it's often cases I'll get them mixed up and then it doesn't close and I don't want to damage the earphones themselves. When it comes to the earphone itself, I think it pulls off the aesthetic. If you're looking for an Evangelion themed earphone, I can't think of any other way this is pulled off. In your ear, this literally looks like Evangelion. And if anybody sees this and doesn't know what it is, they're just a normie. I do have to admit though, I've never really experienced an earphone quite designed like this. It seems very top heavy and very bulky, but that's to be expected when it has a 9-hour media playback. And of course that is for audio only, not for calls. And I probably contribute the size itself to the technology that's within it as well. I was actually very impressed with the range on this. Putting my phone on the charger, leaving the house, which has brick walls, and heading all the way out to the end of my yard. Never having a moment where it was cutting out. I was very impressed by that. And since this is an ear tip insert, they do give you a range of different sizes as well. And I have to say, despite the fact that it kind of feels like it should be kind of weighing downward, I never had a problem with it falling out of my ear. Usability is sort of where I'm very mixed on these things. First of all, it starts off default in Japanese, which yes, you might say is a bad thing, but no, hear me out. And for all of you weebs out there, you're gonna wanna leave it as that. It apparently does have an option for English, but I've never messed with it. That's because the operator for the earpods, the voice in there, is Megumi Hayashibara. Yes, the voice of Rei Ayanami. So you're gonna wanna leave it as that so you can get that sweet, sweet Rei Ayanami ASMR. But no, apparently you can change it, but I've never messed with it. My issue really does come with the functionality. They do give you a range of different commands for pressing one ear or pressing the other. My issue really is that it's a very difficult press. It's this large blue button here. So when you're pressing it, it kind of pushes it up into your ear and dislodges it from your ear. So you sort of have to kind of pinch the device while pressing the button at the same time. Now yes, while like Apple gets around this by having it touch-based, not really press-based, it is sort of still an issue, especially if you're the type that likes to do all of your commands by pressing on the earbuds themselves. Now for the audio quality itself, that's the important question. Like I said before, I'm not an audiophile, so your mileage may vary. My experience with earphones is really around using cheapos from a convenience store, and yes, using one of the earlier gen Apple EarPods. And I think based on the price range that we have here, comparing it to Apple EarPods is pretty apt. My major positive for these things is that it has a very crisp and very wide sound. The sound itself feels very immersive. It doesn't feel muddled and enclosed. Yeah, I know I'm using some really cool non-audiophile type speech here. My only negative, and this is a very slight negative, is again, compared to something like an Apple EarPod, the bass isn't quite to that level. If you're really big on bass, you're not gonna have like that extreme oomph. Compared to something like Apple EarPods, it's sort of like 90% of what they're able to pull off with bass, which for me personally is sort of a big deal. But despite that, I think it's plenty enough. The other real issue that I have is that they apparently do not have an app for adjusting the audio. So if you're one of those types that likes to get in there with an app and sort of adjust the bass, adjust the treble, kind of give it some different modes and settings based on your music, they don't unfortunately have that. Thankfully though, you can pair up with each individual ear. So if you're the type that always likes to keep one ear open, or you like to charge them simultaneously, if you would do that over an 18-hour span, you can do that with these. Though once you take out two of them, they will pair with each other. Now, probably the biggest negative on these that I have, the only true negative that I have with these earphones, is the mic quality is not good. And that's sort of to be expected. It seems like these are more geared towards theme and audio rather than actually voice. At some point I tested it, fired up Discord, and made this recording.
This is the audio quality over Discord.
As you can tell, it's not the greatest. This was recorded inside of a room, and while you can tell that my voice is very clear, you can sort of understand what I'm saying, it does have a very broad audio pickup. This isn't really kind of focused on the voice itself. So if you're buying these to communicate with other people, you're probably gonna have an issue with that, especially if you're in noisy areas. So with all that said, what is my final thoughts on these final branded Evangelion headphones? I really do like these. Let's be perfectly honest, any sort of officially themed product is probably going to be not really that well built. They're more geared around capturing an audience of the IP itself and the product itself being secondary. But the foundations on this one is being on a brand that actually does audio stuff. So they really do know audio. My biggest positives on this whole thing is just battery life. Almost 63 hours of music play, which I think is absolutely huge for me. I can't tell you how many times I have to just kind of keep going back and forth on my Apple EarPods, charging one, charging the other, charging one, charging the other. Its sound quality is really, really good. Very immersive, very crisp, and very wide. And like I said, although the bass itself isn't like super good, it really does hit either way. My only real true negative is the mic quality, which yes, for me doing Discord calls and stuff like that, sort of bites, but it doesn't take away from the rest of this package that I think is pretty cool. But all that said, if you guys want to check this out, I'll have a link down in the description below. Full disclosure, again, this was a gift for review by Jackrabbit Media. This is not a paid sponsorship or anything, so buy it if you want it. Don't buy it if you don't. But I definitely appreciate them sending this to me so I can check it out and let you guys know about it. I think it's really cool visually and everything like that, if anything else. But I thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure that like button down below. Comment, let me know if you're going to be buying it, or if you're like a big nope, whatever, let me know. Additionally, if you're new to this channel, make sure that subscribe button so you got my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, I have a Patreon link, tips link, super thanks, and membership button down below. Greatly appreciate everybody it does, and y'all take care.